It's Jenny. Welcome back to the Bookworms Buddy. It is time for keep, toss, or maybe. So, yeah, I'm on my second shelf on my first bookcase. It is now July, so it's time to do another one of these. And a lot of people expressed a lot of ideas and thoughts about the first one that I had, so I think it's good that I am going to be working on this, and it'll help me maybe get rid of some books, clear some shelves. We'll see. So here we go. Okay, the first couple books I've got here are from Beverly Barton. One is called The Dying Game, and one is called The Last to Die. So these, I believe, are not parts of series. I think they're standalone books. This one, The Dying Game, says the victims are former beauty queens found with a single rose beside their body. Lindsay McAllister has seen this signature before when she was a rookie detective with the Chattanooga PD investigating the death of Judd Walker's wife, a murder that sent this handsome lawyer off the deep end. Now Lindsay has the brutal task of telling Judd that his wife's killer has struck again, and she's going to need his help to outplay their opponent. Because the killer is getting bolder, faster, and more ruthless, the game is escalating and no one is safe. Then this one, it sounds like this is going to be part of a series, though, because the way that it said about Lindsay McAllister has seen this signature before. So, Cherokee Point, Tennessee has seen murder before, but nothing like what has claimed the life of Jamie Upton. Heir to the Upton fortune, the crime is so vicious, so personal, and filled with hatred. The authorities are certain it had to be someone he knew, someone hiding an unimaginable sadistic streak behind a friendly facade. The number one suspect is Jamie's former lover, Jazzy Talbot. The girl from the wrong side of the tracks has always been Cherokee Point's favorite target for gossip, and worse, Jerry knows she didn't kill Jamie, just as she knows she's being watched, stalked by the prey. Okay, so that one sounds interesting. This one, not so much to me. I like the stalkerish kind of stories. I think they're exciting and, that kind of thing. So here we go with these two. This one sounds like it's part of a series, and I'm not just feeling about starting another series or buying a bunch of books for the series. Toss. This one, I don't know. I mean, I think it sounds good, but seriously, when am I going to read it? Toss. Okay, so there's two we're tossing. The next one is Clive Barker's Weve World. Now, I bought this one specifically because somebody was telling me about this book, and I found it, and I've just not read it yet. And I tried reading Clive Barker before, and I think I was figuring maybe try something else by him and see if I like that. So I'm going to hang on to this one just because it's another Clive Barker, and I want to try another book by him because I didn't like the first one. I didn't finish it. It was a book that I just gave up on. So I think I'm going to keep this one and maybe try it out and see if I can actually get through this one. The next one is a series. And we have Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, and Rune and Rising. And I am going to keep this series because I have read Shadow and Bone and I absolutely loved it. So, yeah, these are not going to be tossed. My daughter also has finished a series like last year, and she said, "Mom, get to it." So, since I read Shadow and Bone and I absolutely loved it, this is a keeper. Next one we've got here is More Than Words Can Say by Robert Barclay. This says, Chelsea Enright never expected to inherit her grandmother's lakeside cottage deep in the Adirondacks, a serene getaway that has been mysteriously closed up decades ago. There is no simple bequest, however. This is no simple bequest, however, because when Chelsea finds her grandmother's World War II diaries, she's stunned to discover that they hold secrets she never suspected, and they have the power to turn her own life upside down. So this is a kind of a historical. It's going to be journals that she's going to read. And I don't know. I don't even remember where I picked this up from. Probably from the bookstore. It sounds like it's going to be a pretty good contemporary. It's got a good topic to it. So I think I'm going to hang on to it for now. And maybe within the next few months, if I still don't get to it, then we'll have to toss it. The next book is my husband's. This is Of Poseidon. I've already talked about this book in a recent haul, I believe. So I don't toss my husband's book. I always ask him, you know, have you read this? Did you like it? Are we keeping it? So there's that one. That's Of Poseidon by Anna Banks. There's a trilogy. So there's that one. That's a keeper. Next one we got here is called The Fallen by Dale Bailey. This is a hardback book. This is one that my sister had sent me. This one says, Henry Sleep left the quiet town a decade ago after his mother's tragic death and terrible falling out with his father. Ever since, he has shut out his memories of the run. He has tried not to think about the day his mother died, but now, after the startling news of his father's suicide, Harry is coming home. Home where his former girlfriend waits patiently for her mother to die. Home where his boyhood friend is mysteriously drawn to a long-abandoned mine. Home where the sheriff has something to hide. Home where the darkness is all of them is beginning to stir. I don't know. This is one I'm going to have to think about. It is a short book. It sounds kind of like a thriller, horror-ish kind of story. I'm going to maybe this one. I'm going to maybe keep it or maybe toss it. And we'll see what happens. Next we got here is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I just got this book, so of course I'm not going to toss it. I've heard a lot of stuff about this. I'm going to get this one read, I hope, soon. Maybe a buddy read with my niece because she's got it too, so we'll see, but that's definitely a keeper. Next one we got here is a trilogy, and this is a middle grade, and that in itself is enough to keep it. This is by Wayne Thomas Batson, and it's a trilogy, but I was trying to see if there was a title to it. The Door Within, The Rise of the Worm Lord, and The Final Storm. These covers are enough to keep the series, really. And of course the font is colored. It's the same color as our covers. I'm not sure what this is about, so let's see what this first one says. In the tradition of C.S. Lewis' Narnia series, The Door Within beckons the reader to come along on an epic fantasy adventure to faraway lands and the more near places of the heart. Readers of all ages will find that The Door Within delves heart-pounding thrills as well as themes and principles that will linger with you long after you put the book down. Door Within reminds us that there is much more to life than what we see before our eyes. I highly recommend this book. It says up here, the sky was black, rolling with dark clouds and smoke from 1,000 fires. Facing the enemy warrior, the youthful knight spoke calmly, I will never deny my king. So it's going to be a middle grade fantasy. So I am definitely going to just like look at the map inside. I'm definitely going to keep this. Look at this front page right here, that font. That's awesome. I'm going to keep this series, I believe, and try and get into this. I do like fantasy that is middle grade or YA. It's not adult fantasy, so I should be able to handle it. So yeah, the Dorothin, the Rise of the Wormlord, and the Final Storm are all keepers. Just because I love the way this series looks. Look at the spines. It's beautiful. The next one here is called The Widow of Saunders Creek by Tracy Bateman. A grief that knows no boundary, a love without any limit, a need that doesn't end at death. So, the girl, she grew up with a life of privilege, it says, but she gave it all up for Jared, her army husband. So it's going to be something with the service. She says the man she knew was a hero when he vowed to spend her life with him. She just didn't expect her hero to sacrifice his life taking on Iraqi suicide bomber. So, it sounds really good. I'm going to have to keep it. Oh. Next one we got here is Assassin of Dreams. This is by Ariel Barrington and Stone Vale. This says Mildred Atkins waved goodbye to her eldest son Daniel as he departed for school. In the typical fall morning in 1944, moments later the local sheriff and his deputy arrived at her door, wrestled her into a straitjacket, gagged her with a stained handkerchief, drove her down the narrow tree-lined road that led to Lynn Hall State Hospital for the criminally insane, and left her. Night after night, month after month, year after year, the 44-year-old wife of a prominent physician and the mother of 2 young sons lay, all but buried, in the bowels of the ungodly asylum. Filthy, isolated, tortured, the more she struggled, the more she screamed, the more she begged for answers, the worse things became, until finally she stopped. For the remainder of her confinement, she kept to herself, she rarely spoke, she prayed, constantly and silently, that she'd done nothing to warrant the brutal punishment, and then she waited. After 18 years, she is free, her goal to find out who stole her life and why. Her quest takes her terrifyingly close to people and places she's only seen in nightmares, wonderfully close to the life she's only dreamed of. Triumph demands courage, discipline, focus. The price of failure is the lives of those she loves. Keep her. Enough said. James Barney wrote The Joshua Stone. This is a 1959 in an underground laboratory of a remote region of West Virginia. A secret government experiment went terribly awry. Half a dozen scientists mysteriously disappeared. All subsequent efforts to rescue them failed. In desperation, President Eisenhower ordered the lab sealed shut and all records of existence destroyed. Now, 54 years later, someone from the lab has emerged when mysterious events begin occurring during the New River Valley in West Virginia. Government agent Mike Califano and Anna Thorn are sent to investigate. What they discover will shake the foundations of science and religion and put both agents in crosshairs of a deadly worldwide conspiracy. Not for me, I don't think. The Joshua Stone. I mean, it sounds along the lines where it could be like a Joe Ledger story, but I don't know. I'm not feeling it. Yes. The next one here is The Princetta by Anne Laurie Bondeau. I love the cover of this. It looks interesting. It looks kind of Middle Eastern Egyptian kind of feel to it. This says 15-year-old Princess Malva is about to be married off to a stranger of her father's choosing, but Malva wants nothing to do with the arranged marriage. On the eve of her wedding, she stows away on a cargo ship with her mind, only to land in even more trouble when she is captured by pirates. When news of the missing and presumed kidnapped princess teaches an aspiring ship captain named Orpheus, he is one of the first to sign up for the dangerous search. But it's hard to save a beautiful maiden when she doesn't want to be rescued. This one sounds so good, and I think I'm going to have to keep it and just get this one read because it sounds like a lot of adventure and excitement, and that cover, yeah. Okay. Keeper. Next one is called Lost by S.J. Bolton. Like everyone reading the newspaper these days, 11-year-old Barney Roberts knows the killer will strike again soon. The victim will be another boy just like him. The body will be drained of blood and left somewhere on a Thames beach. There will be no clues at the scene for London detective Dana Tolick and Mark Joesbury to find. There will be no warning about who will be next. Okay, so this one sounds... I didn't read all of it because it's really long. This one's going to be a keeper because it just sounds good. I don't know. Drinking Closer to Home by Jessica Anu Blau. This is a contemporary. I've had this for a while now, and I've still not read this one. And there's not even really a thing to tell you what the story's about. So, toss. This one is Please Stop Laughing at Me by Jody Blanco. You guys have heard me talk about this book. It is on bullying and that kind of stuff, and I've already read this and loved it, so it is a keeper. Next one we got here is Anna Dressed in Blood by Kendar Blake, and I've heard so much about this. I've just not read it. I've not had this book very long, so I still want to give it a shot and get to this one. So that's a keeper. I'm not going to read the thing, and you guys know all about that one. This one is by Terry Blackstock, Vicious Cycle. This one says, when 15-year-old Lance Covington finds an abandoned baby in the backseat of a car, he knows where she came from. She's the newborn daughter of a meth addict. He's been trying to help. But when police arrest him for kidnapping, Lance is thrust into a criminal world of baby trafficking and drug abuse. His mother, Barbara, looks for help from Kent Harlan, the man whom she secretly, reluctantly loves and who once helped rescue her daughter from a mess of her own. Kent flies to her and begins the impossible work of getting Lance out of trouble, protecting the baby who has no home, finding help from a teenage mother hiding behind her lies, and toss. Next we've got here is White Thorn Woods by Maeve Binchy. This one says, the people of Rossmere are divided, particularly since the road will go right through Witchthorn Woods and the well dedicated to St. Anne, a well thought by some to have spiritual properties and by others dismissed as a superstition. Well-meaning curate Father Brian Flynn has no idea which fiction to support. Which faction to support, sorry about that. Neddy Nolan is being offered compensation for his land, but has personal reason to save the well. Then there's the childless London woman who came to Whitethorn Woods begging the saint for help with most unexpected consequences. Toss. History of a Suicide by Jill Belaski, My Sister's Unfinished Life. So this one is obviously a true story. Happened in 1990 when Jill's 21-year-old sister came home from a bar in downtown Cleveland. She argued with her boyfriend on the phone. Then she took her mother's car keys, went to the garage, closed the garage door. She climbed into the car, turned on the ignition, and fell asleep. Her body was found the next morning by the neighborhood boy her mother hired to cut the grass. Okay, but they're saying that the act of suicide is anything but simple, so her sister is going to dig into the reasons why and find out why her sister took her life. This one has to be a keeper. I really want to read this one. Okay, Mommy Deadliest by Michael Benson. This is going to be a crime novel. Fitzpatrick told ABC he found Stacy to be a trip, a personality that rubbed irritatingly at his ability to sleep at night. Sometimes Fitzpatrick said the most frightening thing in the coldness with which people operate. Most women with a failing marriage might contemplate divorce. They might hire a lawyer, or maybe they would try to glue the pieces back together again and seek counseling, but none of that seems practical to Stacy. She just poured a drink, Fitzpatrick said. Killing 2 husbands was one thing, but Stacy went immediately to the head of the coldness class of Coldness Hall of Fame when she tried to kill Ashley. Okay, so, yep, it's a woman that's going to kill her daughter. Toss. Next one we've got here is Gregory Benthorn's Eater. This is going to be a science fiction, obviously. Impending personal tragedy is dimming the brilliant light of Dr. Benjamin Knowlton's world. On the threshold of the greatest achievement, the renowned astrophysicist's beloved wife and partner, ex-astronaut turned astronomer Channing, is dying. There's more to it, but toss. The Overton Window by Glenn Beck. This is a thriller. Oh, and look, we got The Christmas Sweater by Glenn Beck. The Christmas Sweater is going to be a keeper because I'm always looking to find. Oh, look at the pages in there. I'm always looking to find a good Christmas story, so that's going to be a keeper. And this one says, there is a powerful technique called the Overton Window that can shape our lives, our laws, our future. It manipulates public perception so that the ideas once seen as radical become acceptable over time. Move the window and you change the debate. Change the debate, you change the country. Now, in the face of a catastrophic terrorist attack, an apathetic young man is plunged into the maelstrom of political discourse and basic survival as he races to uncover the conspirators behind the destruction to save both the woman he loves and the individual freedoms he once took for granted. I don't like political stuff, and I feel like this is going to have a lot of that in there. So, toss. So I did really good this time, I think. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books tossed. Last time I did it, 1 was tossed. So, yay! 9 books tossed. These are the keepers right here. So, if you agree with me on tossing these books, the ones I kept, let me know in the comments below and we will talk about it. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next one.